Alright guys, welcome back to the shop, and today is Wednesday. I didn't film anything yesterday, but I got the bracket, the lower alternator bracket primed. I got the bolts primed, I got the top of the pulley primed. I got pretty much the accessories off this old motor. I had a little bit of issue with the alternator. So pretty much all the accessories are off. I don't need that top alternator bracket because I got one that's already been painted. The alternator itself, I got to work on it. I think it's going to need some work. And I got another one here, but I'm not sure if it's any good, so I may have to check that out. Got the power steering pump off and washed it down good with degreaser. I noticed the reservoir beat up pretty bad on it. I was going to try to swap the Bendixes from these two starters, and they really don't fit. This starter I had from my dually, it's a lot bigger than that starter that come off the truck. So I have ordered another starter. And today I'm going to paint these brackets so that I can get that stuff installed tomorrow. And the top alternator brackets laying over there. And while I'm waiting on it to dry, I think I'm going to go ahead and install the carb and the fuel line. So first thing first, we'll get in here and paint on these brackets and bolt heads. And then we'll work on getting the carburetor mounted. Alright guys, I may have already showed y'all this carburetor in a previous video. I don't remember. It's just your average 4-barrel quadrajet Rochester and rebuilt. So hopefully it's going to work good. It comes with a mounting gasket. And it has been sitting, but the box has been closed, so hopefully it ain't too dirty in here. This does have electric choke, and I've got to figure out how to wire that up. So the first thing we got to do is remove our lift plate that was on the motor. Alright, so first thing, what I did was I tightened this plate down with these nuts. So I need to loosen these nuts up. I'm going to go ahead and move that before I damage it. I should be able to use my little impact to get these off. These damn mosquitoes are eating me up today. What the hell is going on? I'm hungry. That's the only bad, really the worst part about being down here, other than not having no room, is the mosquitoes in the summertime. It looks pretty clean out there. A little vacuum. This little vacuum hose going to this choke pull off is kind of in the way. Alright, now this carburetor uses 2 long bolts and 2 short bolts. May not supposed to have any washers on them, I don't know. Alright, so get it lined up with a hole. Really, looking at where the old bolts were, I don't think these had washers on them. I just almost hate to not put them. Alright, this vacuum line, this it ain't really the vacuum line as much as it is this hickory right here is not going to work. I may have to extend this vacuum line out. I don't believe these washers are going to work. Now I got to find the torque specs for these carburetor bolts. Well, apparently there's, if they're the torque spec, they got it well hid. So what I'm going to do is tighten up till it's pretty snug. That ought to be good enough. I think I can move this vacuum hose around this other thing now. Yeah. Alright. So the carburetor's mounted. Now we've got to, I've got a rod for the housing. Alright, so I picked up this long threaded rod at AutoZone. It's got a adapter on here, depending on what kind of carburetor you got. I'm thinking just this regular one's all I need. Don't need this little adapter, but that'd be handy to have. Now let's check our housing, make sure it'll fit. I hadn't cleaned up this housing because I wasn't sure I was going to use it. Zoom me out a little bit. And I'm still not sure I'm going to use it. I would like to, with this type housing, it would be a lot quieter. But it's got to be cleaned up. It's got a big old, huge air filter. Big, huge air filter. It needs to stand a new one, but not too bad. Even got a little, looks like a little inner filter or some kind of deal. A little inner screen deal. I believe it'll work. This one's got the route and stuff on the cap, on here, and I didn't really need it. If I'd known that, I wouldn't even need the one on the horse port here, because this one actually says 5.7 liter. So just keep the critters out of it, And we'll end up cutting this rod off the length. I'm on the biggest thing I wanted was to be able to use the piping going over to the cold air inlet. You know, a lot of folks are going to say, why don't you just get a aftermarket open air filter? Well, the problem with those are all your heat's right on top of your motor, and you're sucking all that hot air right in your motor. You're going to get better fuel economy, better combustion with a good dense air coming off the cold side. And the only way to get that is to go outside the engine compartment to get your air, which is the reason they built them like this. So that's the reason I decided to use it. Now if he wants to put an aftermarket, you know, that's fine. So I went ahead and removed the air cleaner, and when I looked inside, I'm going to take the filter out again. Didn't notice it the first time, but the actual factory rod was in it. So I stuck the factory rod into the carburetor. It's black, it's shorter. So I've got the air cleaner ready to clean, and I'm going to have to paint the top. And I don't know if I might probably have to paint the bottom outside of it too. Alright, so I got it cleaned up. Really the only bad part on the bottom of this side right here, like it's rubbed up against something and scraped it all off. I can't for the daggone life of me figure out how this thing comes out. I thought it was just set in there, but I'm afraid I'm going to tear it up. I don't know exactly what's in there, but it's crunchy. I rinsed it out. The top's another story. I'm going to have to sandblast it. It's pretty rough all around the inside there. I'm going to go ahead and, inside looks good. The gasket's still good on it. I think I'm going to just go ahead and sandblast the whole top. And maybe up in this area, I ain't figured out yet how to get that off either. I don't think it, well, it looks like it's just held on with a clamp, but there's also a little actuator rod in there. And this thing goes over here to this thermostat. When that thermostat's cold, it closes in, allows vacuum to go through it, and operates this. Most people I know have disabled that, but it ain't really gonna hurt nothing to leave it open. You're just drawing a little warm air from the engine. I mean, yeah, to leave it in operation rather. And this right here, I believe, goes to the charcoal canister for your vapors vent off in here. Got one line that goes to the PCV system, one line goes to the carb, and I believe that's this line. It runs to the charcoal canister. Probably can figure it out if we looked on this, because this pretty much tells you how to set it up. I'm going to record this so I can look at it later. Now I can take a picture of it. Now here's what it looks like after I got done sandblasting. Just used my little sand blaster sprayer. It don't really, you got to really shake it good to get down and get those pits out, but it did pretty good. I hit this a little bit around this side. I also took that sticker off on this one because we didn't really need it. We got one on the core support. So right now I'm getting ready. I've already prepped it for paint. I'm getting ready to spray some self-etching primer on these bare areas, and then tomorrow we'll come back and paint it black. I'll show you what how the air cleaner turned out. It's pretty shiny. Got some gloss black automotive enamel or whatever you want to call it. You got that base painted.